A female teacher has been charged with sleeping with a 16-year-old male student. The teacher is rather young herself. She's 26 years old, and she's pretty good looking. And so, I guess we have to. There's only one response ever to the. Where were these teachers when I was in school? Right? That's the response. That's a response universally. One of these stories crops up every month. I don't know, probably more than that. And it's some hot young teacher and some teenage boy, usually a little bit of an older teenager, 16, 17. And they sleep together and the story comes out and she gets charged with sexual assault. And then every person in the country, at least every guy, says, hey, nice, cool, man. Where were these teachers when I was in school? And it's kind of a funny line. I'm not denying that it's a funny line. But the fact that that's always the response tells you something about our sexual ethic. Because it's legitimately very bad. It's sincerely a bad thing. And it's not just bad because 16-year-old boys shouldn't be having sex. They shouldn't be. A lot of them do, but they shouldn't be. It's not just bad because this woman is in a position of power. And so there's a big power imbalance here. It's not just bad because parents should be able to send their kids to school without worrying about their kids being molested by teachers. It's not just bad because that woman is divorced. So it creates all sorts of, plants all new seeds of scandal in kids' minds about that, about what marriage is, about what sex is. It's not just bad because he could have gotten her pregnant. And then what? Would that have led to, I don't know, would that have led to an abortion? I certainly hope not. It could have derailed a lot of this kid's life? It's bad because since the 1960s, we have replaced our old moral order with one moral maxim, and that is, if it feels good, do it. If it feels good, then you should do it. Now, if that's our moral maxim, why should this kid not be allowed to sleep with his teacher, especially if she's kind of young and hot and willing? Well, you might say, because he's a minor. He's 16. Oh, he's 16? And he shouldn't be allowed to have a consensual sexual relationship with his teacher? Well, of course he can't have a consensual sexual relationship. A 16-year-old can't consent. Oh, interesting. Because I was told that an 8-year-old can consent to sexual mutilations and puberty blockers and hormones that will forever change his biochemistry and weaken his bones and sterilize him or her and probably lead to early death. So hold on, an 8-year-old can consent to that kind of permanent, radical sexual action. But a 16-year-old can't have a fling with his young teacher? No, of course, that breaks down too. Even the basic moral criterion that we accept in liberal modernity, consent, starts to break down. Well, no, maybe, look, an 8-year-old can consent to that, just not this. And a 16-year-old can consent to that, just not this. It starts to break down. We all know that this story is wrong. Most sensible people know that this story is wrong. It's just so scandalous. It leads to a stumbling block. This is what the millstone verse of the Bible is about. Whoever causes one of these little ones to stumble, the famous millstone verse. It's not about physically harming children. It's about creating scandal and leading people away from God. If we all know that there's something a little bit wrong with this, the weirdest part of the story is that apparently the kid's father knew and the kid's father allowed it to happen. So then the joke is, oh, wow, Father of the Year. I'm going to give him number one dad in town mug for Father's Day. But he's not the Father of the Year. That's actually very bad. It's very bad to do. And we all kind of know it deep down. So what that implies then is that our moral revolution of the last 60 years is wrong. What that implies then is there are other moral criteria to judge. To stop making the same old joke about this story forces us to reconsider the entire moral revolution that we've had since the 1960s. Frankly, the seeds of a moral revolution that go back much, much further than that. Are we able to return to that? Are we living in a world after virtue where we just can't make sense of that anymore? Or is there a chance that we can recover something of a sensible ethic?
Now, I love Trump. No, I love the tax cuts. I love the secure borders. I love no new wars. I love the judicial appointments. And I even love his tweets. I love Trump so much that I voted for him in 2 generals and even in 2 primaries. That's right, I voted for him in March 2020 when he was running unopposed. So if I could snap my fingers and make him president for 4 more years, I would do it. Heck, if I could get 24 more years of President Trump, I would be a happy camper. But I'm voting for Vivek Ramaswamy in the primary because I am worried about whether Trump can win. Yes, I know he has the support of most Republicans, and I know that he beats Biden in most head-to-head matchups, even when you consider the swing states individually. But I have a fear that keeps me up at night, and that fear is one Fani Willis. I'm afraid that in September, when Trump is our nominee and we have too much momentum to choose another, District Attorney Willis is going to throw Trump in a prison jumpsuit, and he will lose the support of the most crucial voting demographic, suburban white women. I worry that they will think a convict is a bad example for their non-binary sons and that they would rather have 4 more years of crime, inflation, mass illegal immigration, and flirtation with nuclear war. My question is, are my fears based in reality, or do they present no obstacle to voting for Donald Trump, the founder of our Feast of Covfefe? Thank you as always for bringing the wisdom of 1390 to 2024.
Marvelous question, as always, Arun. I don't want to discourage you from voting for Vivek. He's a friend of mine, and I really like the guy, and I think he's had a good candidacy. So I'm not discouraging you from doing that at all. If you want an argument as to why Trump's indictments are not a reason to boot him off the ballot, well, one is, if we establish that precedent, then we're just letting the Democrats choose our nominee. To me, the fact that they want to send him to St. Helena so badly is actually a mark in his favor. It makes me think that they really are afraid of him, that if he does make it to the general, that he really could win, which I think is borne out in the polls, though who knows? Who knows? There could be shenanigans, and the polls are not all that reliable. I just also think whoever the nominee is, they're going to throw everything at him. So right now, for instance, Nikki Haley says that she beats Biden by 17 points. And maybe she does do better against Biden than Trump does. I'm a little skeptical, but maybe she does. But she ain't going to beat him by 17 points, I promise you that. It's because the Democrats haven't attacked her yet. But the minute they start attacking her, and they're not just going to attack her with TV ads. I mean, we're now in the litigious phase of American democracy. So they're probably going to accuse her of, a coup d'etat, or of, pillaging a town, or of, high crimes and misdemeanors before she ever gets into office. Vivek, same thing. They'll contrive some scandal with one of his companies or something. I don't know. They'll find something. And when I say they find something, I mean, they probably won't actually find anything. They'll just make it up and use it against him. So I'm past that. I tend to believe that most Americans, including a lot of Democrats, think that the indictments against Trump are wrong, that it's a political persecution, even if he is convicted. What the Democrats believe is that once the evidence is presented and he's actually wearing an orange jumpsuit, that is what's going to rally Americans to say, no, this is too much. We can't vote for this guy. I kind of think it's the opposite, though. I think that the sight of an American president and the most popular candidate in the presidential race right now in an orange jumpsuit is going to so horrify Americans as to the banana republic that we've descended into that it will help his numbers. That's my guess. Who knows? I mean, we'll probably find out, but that's my guess. That's a good clip, huh? Now, hold up. Ring the bell, subscribe to the Michael Knowles YouTube channel, and we will see you next time.